Welcome back to Scene Rundown. Let us watch Damsel. A short scene from the past opens Damsel, showing a king leading a small group of his men to a vast mountain cave that is only a short distance from their realm. A massive beast follows the men as they head into the cave, attacking almost instantly, while it appears that they have descended inside it in pursuit of treasure. The king is the solitary survivor after all the warriors are destroyed in a matter of seconds by the lethal, fire-breathing dragon. The man drops his sword and kneels in front of the creature, pleading for compassion because he has nowhere else to go. However, his fate is ultimately unknown. Damsel transports us to the present, a few centuries after the events at the cave, and presents us to a destitute country. Family members are already having to share food rations, and there is a perceptible natural restlessness among the people living on the streets. King Bayford has just received a marriage proposal for Elodie from the distant realm of Aurea. The man who will marry Elodie, Prince Henry, is extremely wealthy in his homeland and possesses a full fleet of ships. Elodie is not persuaded because she wants to travel the world on her own and is not interested in being married, but she must accept the situation for the benefit of her kingdom's citizens. King Bayford's problems would be solved because the Aurian royal family had promised to provide substantial quantities of cash and resources to the marriage. They journey to Aurea. Elodie and Henry's marriage is blessed by the monarch and his current spouse, who also happens to be the girl's stepmother. Elodie appears interested in Prince Henry's company as she sets out to establish a new life far from her family, but a dramatic turn of events shows that Elodie has actually been trapped and is only intended to be a sacrifice. Both Elodie and Prince Henry of Aurea were brought together by necessity. Their kingdoms were in dire need of assistance and a bride, respectively. Elodie, a young lady from a life filled with great hardships, yet rejects to be seduced by the glamour of this new existence, even if she is left with no other option. She accepts to become the new queen of Aurea since, as a woman, she is required to get married, and because the people in her country would greatly benefit from this specific proposal. Even though he isn't ready to get married yet, Prince Henry is likewise incredibly well-mannered and endearing with her, showing that he too gave in to family pressure to get married. The night before the wedding, Elodie observes some bright lights in the distance that appear to be coming from the mountains. And she also sees a young woman who looks about her own age on a balcony next to her. Henry simply responds that the lights are a result of a ritual practice that is a part of the Aurea culture when she questions him about them. The following day, Elodie is included in a cultural ceremony in which she and Henry stroll toward the neighboring mountains, while a group of supporters surrounds them. This occurs after Elodie is formally married off to Henry, and her parents and sister are led out of the palace. There, Elodie is introduced as the newest member of the royal family after a deep incision is made on the palms of the bride and groom, which are then touched together. Henry's mother, Queen Isabel, is in charge of the event. In addition, she is handed a coin to toss into the nearby cavern's depths. Henry then carries her away in a passionate embrace and instructs her to close her eyes. Elodie is terrified to learn that Henry has just thrown her into a deep cave, even though she was expecting this to be a sincere act of love. Isabel had just moments before revealed that the event was a component of a custom followed by the Aurea royal line to placate a dragon thought to have plagued the region centuries before. According to Isabel, many centuries ago, a massive dragon had appeared in Aurea and began attacking people. In response, the former king had gathered his army and gone into battle and slay the beast. The opening scene of Damsel depicted this exact incident, in which the dragon instantly slaughtered every soldier, leaving only the monarch alive. The dragon agreed to make a deal with the king when the monarch submitted and begged for forgiveness. Under the terms of the agreement, the king would have to give the dragon his 3 cherished daughters to devour and kill in order for the dragon and the kingdom of Aurea to coexist. Elodie had just made one of the 3 comparable sacrifices that the royal family has made of its 3 young women since that time. The dragon is depicted in Isabel's story as a ferocious, wild creature that merely desired to harm people. However, Elodie discovers a few things while exploring the dragon's cave and protecting herself from the deadly fire assaults. She discovers a safe haven where the names of several ladies are inscribed on the walls. She also discovers a large number of human skeletons that were murdered inside the caverns. The ritual Isabel described as being observed by the royal family in every generation actually involved the sacrifice of 3 young ladies to placate the dragon, which is still alive and pursuing its prey. Over the years, the family devised a cunning and heinous scheme to marry the prince off to a young woman from another nation, even if the first king was forced to sacrifice his own daughters. Following the marriage ceremony, the new wife received a hand-cut and blood transfusion, officially joining the family. The bride was then cast into the dragon's cave, and 2 other women were thrown in after her, bringing the total number of sacrifices to 3, while still protecting the members of the real royal family. Elodie discovers 3 dead fossilized young dragons in a particular area of the cave, which is another startling discovery she makes while there. Soon after, it becomes clear that Isabel's account of events was not accurate, because the first king of Aria chose not to use the dragon's cave as a line of defense. The dragon had never attacked Aria and had never harmed any humans, but the king was determined to kill it, perhaps because he thought the dragon's blood held magical properties. The mother dragon became enraged when the king brutally killed the 3 baby dragons that had just emerged from the eggs inside the cave. It therefore desired to exact revenge on the king's 3 daughters, starting a lengthy custom of cruel treatment and sacrifice directed towards princesses from poorer, weaker kingdoms, such as Elodie's. Was this sacrifice known to King Bayford? Although Isabel never revealed the true motive for their first desperate hunt for a bride, after the bride and her family arrived at Oria, she did have a private meeting with King Bayford. Bayford was clearly upset after this discussion, but he kept his emotions hidden from everyone. Even though he was aware of the sacrifice during this meeting, he nevertheless chose to proceed with the wedding, purely for the purpose of returning to his kingdom with food and money to ensure the welfare of his subjects. Elodie's stepmother, Lady Bayford, felt that something was really wrong at this time and wanted her daughter to call off the wedding, but the king rejected this idea. A day or 2 later, however, King Bayford changed his mind because he could not stand the guilt of having willingly sacrificed his daughter. He had not yet left the realm of Aria with his family. While Lady Bayford and Floria were safely aboard a ship near the coast, prepared to go, King Bayford and a few men arrived at the dragon's lair to rescue his daughter. Even while the king was under genuine pressure and urgency to ensure his folks' well-being, his choice to sacrifice his daughter was also incredibly cruel. Because of this, despite all of his excuses and efforts to keep Elodie safe, Damsel does force him to accept a tragic ending. While King Bayford distracts the dragon and ostensibly aids Elodie in escaping the cave, the dragon kills him within. Does Elodie kill the dragon at last? Isabel is informed that her sacrifice plan has failed as soon as Elodie leaves the cave, and the dragon also takes off, splattering ferocious fire over Orea. When Isabel discovers that Elodie has escaped, she lets her nasty side show and storms into Elodie's family's ships, holding Floria captive. She then conducts the identical blood ritual on the young girl and offers her as a sacrifice by tossing her into the dragon's cave with the aid of her warriors. The wicked queen is certain that Elodie would dash to her sister's aid, and in the process, either Floria or she would be slain and consumed by the dragon, ensuring the success of the sacrifice. Elodie does, in fact, dash back to the cave where she employs cunning and bravery to slay the dragon in addition to saving Floria. Elodie ultimately chooses not to use her blade to kill the dragon, despite having the opportunity. She first acknowledges that the dragon's 3 defenseless babies were slaughtered by the ruthless monarch of Orea, which had harmed the beast. She also highlights the reality that the dragon killed countless innocent young ladies merely to get revenge, repeating the same pointless and self-serving brutality for many more decades. In the end, though, Elodie makes the decision to break free from this pointless cycle of retaliation, and rather than killing the dragon for killing her father, she uses the glowbug's ability to regenerate life to save it. What becomes of Prince Henry and Queen Isabel? The true nemesis in the entire Damsel story is not the dragon, but rather the cruel humans of the Oria royal family, who willingly betrayed young brides and offered them as sacrifices so they could perish. They not only mistreated the young ladies now, but they had previously wronged the dragon, which was the beginning of this entire death cycle. When Elodie returns to the realm at the end of Damsel, she gives the dragon the opportunity to exact revenge for all the wrongdoings from the past. Isabel had managed to seduce another young bride by this point, but Elodie stepped in and ordered her and her family to leave right away. The common people of Aria are then given an opportunity to flee before she, with the dragon's assistance, lets loose her entire wrath. Prince Henry, who exhibited a little more conscience than his mother, did have some second thoughts about sacrificing Floria, but he was unable to absolve his family of their sins, and the dragon killed him and his mother, Queen Isabel. Elodie, Floria, and their stepmother are seen sailing out of Aurea at the conclusion of Damsel, bound for their home realm, which will now be ruled by a queen. The dragon can also be seen soaring over the air. It's possible that the two will appear on other adventures in the future. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos.